30-year-old throws herself a birthday party. Her family ghosts her. She forces a $214,000 payback. Me name is Hazel. I'm 30 years old and I live alone in Austin, Texas. This year, I decided to throw a birthday party for myself. Not because I enjoy parties, but because I wanted to believe just one more time that my family, even if distant now, might still remember the day I was born. I rented a small section of a cozy bar in South Austin. Nothing extravagant. Just some warm string lights and a few childhood photos taped to the wall. A quiet attempt to remind them I was still here, still part of the family. I ordered a modest red velvet cake, prepared a few thank you cards, and sent invites to my mom, stepdad, and 2 half-siblings. They all received them. That evening, I arrived early and chose a spot by the bar where the lighting felt gentle, inviting, but not attention-seeking. At 7:00 p.m., I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls. By 8 o'clock, the cake remained untouched, and the cards sat unopened. I sipped water quietly, trying not to look around too much, hoping to avoid the glances of strangers. The bartender offered me a free glass of plum wine. Maybe they're just running late, he said kindly. I nodded and managed a smile. But by 9 o'clock, that smile disappeared. No one came, not a single person. I cut a slice of cake, pretending to post something cheerful on social media, but the truth was far from cheerful. I ate it slowly, not because I was hungry, but because I didn't want it to look abandoned. I avoided the lights. I avoided the reality. By 10 o'clock, I packed my things, left a tip, and walked out, leaving behind what had just become a quiet witness to my loneliness. Back home, silence greeted me. The only sound was my heels across the floor and my own heavy heartbeat. Lying in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, I felt empty. What hurt wasn't their absence, it was that I still hoped. A week later, during work, my phone buzzed with a group message from my mother. Hey family, Frank's 55th is coming up. We're celebrating at Pacific Shores Resort. It'll be $1,200 each. Please send it by Friday. Love you all. I read it 3 times. No apology, no mention of my birthday, just a demand, disguised as affection. My sister replied right away, just sent it, Mom. So excited. Then my brother, all paid. Can't wait. I sat motionless, not angry, just coldly relieved. There was nothing left to protect. No more pretending to be the dutiful daughter. I opened my payment app and sent exactly $1. Note, happy birthday. I locked my front door, changed passwords to any shared accounts, and finally exhaled, like I hadn't truly breathed in years. After that, I blocked every number in the family. Thread, Mom, Frank, Madison, Tyler. With each blocked contact, it felt like I was removing a weight I had carried for too long. I gave no explanations. They didn't deserve one. That night, I called a locksmith to replace every lock in the apartment. Not out of fear, but because I knew my mother. Silence to her was never passive. It was something to break. 2 days later, while working at my favorite coffee shop, I received a bank alert. Suspicious login attempt from a new device. My chest tightened. I opened the banking app, hands shaking. There was evidence of access to an old joint account, the one I used to pay for Tyler's tuition, Madison's wedding, and a bathroom renovation Mom said would help Frank's back pain. I called the bank immediately. Freeze the account. Move everything into my personal one. Update all verification methods. My voice was calm, firm. That night, unknown numbers started calling. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. Why did you block us? Why change the locks? Why freeze the account? Call me back. I turned off my phone. I assumed things would quiet down. But I underestimated my mother's ability to rewrite the story. She had always known how to play the victim when control slipped away. Friday night, while watching a movie, the doorbell rang loud and persistent. I checked the camera. 2 police officers, one older, serious, the other younger, holding a notepad. I opened the door slightly. Can I help you? Are you Hazel Miller? The taller one asked. I nodded. We received a report that you might be missing. Your family's concerned you may be in danger or emotionally unstable. I blinked. Missing? A chill ran through me. I'm fine. I've just chosen to cut contact with certain people. I'm working and living as usual. The younger officer asked if someone could confirm my well-being. I showed him my phone live video from my remote work app. Multiple meetings, dozens of colleagues. He took notes. Your family says they haven't heard from you and are concerned. I offered a tired smile. I blocked them after they ignored my birthday, tried to access my bank, and sent me a bill for Frank's party. They were silent for a moment. We don't intervene in family matters, the older one said, but if you feel harassed, consider a restraining order. I nodded. If they contact me again, I will. Once they left, I stood at the door for a long while. I never thought my own family would file a missing person report not out of concern, but because they couldn't accept losing control. New messages kept arriving from unknown numbers. Hazel, open the door. You can't treat family like this. Frank's losing it. He thinks you're unstable. I didn't reply. I was no longer the quiet daughter behind the door. I had locked it, and this time, the key was mine. Saturday around noon, while making coffee, the doorbell rang again. But this time, it wasn't polite. It was harsh, angry knocking. I checked the security cam. Mom, Frank, and Madison stood outside, all tense. Mom's face was tight with fury. Frank stood with crossed arms, jaw clenched. Madison tapped her phone, likely filming everything for her version of events. I turned on the speaker. What are you doing here, Mom? Open the door now, she snapped. We need to talk. Talk about what? I asked. About the account you tried to access? Or the birthday you ignored except for the part where I was expected to pay for it? Frank's voice cut in, thick with reproach. You're being childish. We're worried about you. And this is how you react. I gave a short laugh. You reported me missing. That's your version of concern? Madison banged on the door. You're ignoring us and playing the victim. I opened the door but didn't step aside. I blocked the entry, standing firm. What do you want? I asked, voice flat. Mom's eyes met mine. We're family. You're treating me like a stranger. Maybe you never really knew me, I said. You know what really hurt? Not being forgotten on my birthday, but realizing I only matter when money is involved. Frank stepped forward. We raised you, supported your education, and now you turn your back on us? I looked at him calmly. I worked since I was 16, earned scholarships, paid off my student loans, bought my own car. What did you provide, really, other than the basics? Mom jumped in. What about the nights I stayed up worrying? The loans I took to buy Christmas gifts? And now you throw everything away over a party? It's not just about a party, I said, voice firm. It's about years of being used. Every time I had money, someone needed a loan. I paid $30,000 for Madison's wedding. Never even got a thank you. When I said I was tired, I was told not to be dramatic. Madison sneered. You always act like the victim. You have money, but act like it's a burden. You're right, I said. I'm not the only one who struggled, but I am the only one who was taken advantage of and still called it love. Frank tried to sound calm. We just want things to go back to normal. Families don't fall apart over small misunderstandings. This isn't a misunderstanding, I replied. It's a reality you refuse to face. I've given enough. I'm done. Mom's eyes narrowed. Fine, you want out. You've got it. But don't come running back when you're alone. If the choice is between being alone or being used, I said slowly, I choose alone. She tried to respond, but Frank pulled her back. Madison shot me a final glare and turned away. I shut the door. Calm, steady, final, like closing a chapter I should have ended long ago. Their footsteps faded. A car door slammed. Then, silence. But this time, it felt peaceful. 2 days later, I got a bank notification, a request to refinance the Lake Travis house. The house under both my mother's and my name. 6 years ago, she called crying, saying they were close to eviction. I agreed to co-sign. I thought I was just helping. But now they tried to refinance without telling me. I sat, stunned. This wasn't just disrespect, it was manipulation. I called my attorney, Gretchen Lewis, a sharp, experienced lawyer I'd worked with in real estate disputes. They're trying to refinance without my approval. I told her, send me the mortgage documents, title deed, and related emails, she said. I'll lock everything connected to your name. But I wasn't done. I opened my laptop and emailed my accountant. Request for personal financial audit, family-related expenses. Past 6 years. I listed what I remembered most clearly. Down payment on house, $62,000 Frank's truck loan, $18,500 Madison's betting debt, $27,000 Tyler's tuition, $39,800 Mom's 2021 medical expenses, $55,200 MISC. Loans never repaid, $12,000 total, $214,500. I asked for a detailed spreadsheet, sorted by category and year, with attached proofs. I didn't want arguments, I wanted records, receipts. 3 days later, the audit arrived. I stared at the document, hands trembling not with regret, but clarity. For years, I thought I was loved, but I was only needed. Turns out love came with a price tag and a total balance. I sent the audit to the family group chat, which I had reopened briefly. The message I included was short: I want it all back. Within the hour, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Missed call from my mom. A message from Madison. Are you serious? Who counts every dollar with their own family? Then Tyler. I'm picking up side jobs to stay afloat and now you want what, my blood? And of course, Frank weighed in. You're tearing this family apart. Your mother hasn't slept in days. I didn't respond. Instead, I emailed Gretchen. If they can't buy me out, I want to withdraw my share of the house. Push for a forced sale. She called within minutes. Are you sure? If we do this, they'll have to either pay you your share or sell the home and divide the money. It could get ugly. I looked again at the audit. It's not about revenge. It's about fairness. How they handle that is their choice. That same day, Gretchen's office sent an official notice to my mom and Frank. Hazel Miller is withdrawing her capital interest from the jointly owned property at 1175 Shoreline Drive. If no agreement is reached within 14 days, we will begin proceedings for a forced sale. Their response was immediate. Madison messaged me first. You really want to see mom back in that old apartment? You're not just distant, you're cruel. I read it, deleted it. No reply. They called me selfish. Me, the one who sent money monthly, even when no one asked how I was doing. Later that evening, a message came in that gave me pause. Hazel, if you go through with this, we'll lose everything. The house will be sold. I have nowhere to go. Are you really this heartless? Momi put the phone down without replying. I didn't feel heartless. I felt clear. And for the first time in years, I knew if I didn't follow through, I'd end up back where I started, quiet, giving, and quietly hurt. A week passed with no word from any of them after Gretchen's notice. That silence didn't feel like surrender, it felt like strategy, like the quiet before a storm. Then it came. Monday afternoon, I received an email from Gretchen. They've agreed to sell the house. It's being listed as a fast sale, but they're stalling your share of the proceeds, I replied, with just 2 words, stay close. 3 days later, my phone rang. And Amelia, my mom's older sister from Florida. Her tone was gentle, but tense. Hazel, your mom called me crying. Said you're throwing the whole family out. I don't know the full story, but they say you're demanding hundreds of thousands. Is that true? I didn't explain, not out of disrespect, but because I was too tired to keep defending myself. People believe what they want, I said quietly. I'm only asking for what I gave. If they need to sell the house, the cars, whatever they bought with my money, that's not revenge. That's balance. She said nothing more and hung up. 2 weeks later, the house was officially on the market. A 2-story, 3-bedroom place with a backyard deck, once used for barbecues and family photos, now listed below market value just to cover debts. I felt nothing looking at the photos. No sadness, no joy. They started selling cars. Frank's Ford Explorer sold for $15,000. My mother's sedan showed up on Facebook Marketplace framed like downsizing, not desperation. Next, the jewelry. The white gold necklace she wore for years. The sapphire earrings I had gifted her after my first promotion. I recognized them in photos Gretchen's office received as proof they were making efforts toward payment. Then came the first transfer. $10,000. A week later, $5,000. I said nothing, but Gretchen didn't wait. She sent a formal collection letter. If the remaining amount wasn't paid, we'd resume forced sale proceedings. No more delays. The next morning, I received the final $7,200. Total, $22,200. Exactly what I'd asked for, not a cent more. When that number appeared in my account, I stared at it like a reflection. 10 years of financial strain, emotional weight reduced to a single digital line. Transfer received. That same day, Gretchen gave me an update. They had left the house. My mom couldn't qualify for a rental. Her credit was too low, and she had no collateral. Frank had lost his job months earlier and kept it quiet. Madison and Tyler had moved in with their partners. Neither offered to take in our parents. I don't know where they are now. There were rumors they were staying in the old RV Frank once planned to renovate into a travel van. It may be their only option now. That evening, A message came from Madison. You happy now? Mom's curled up in a freezing van. You call that justice? I read it slowly, not because I felt guilty but because it sounded so familiar. They only remembered me when they needed saving. I didn't reply. I don't live in that cycle anymore. I went for a walk near the lake. No phone, no noise, just me, the crisp December air, and a feeling I hadn't known in years. Freedom. 4 months passed. Life became still. No calls, no messages, no accusations in the middle of the night. Peace took time to get used to, but I wasn't afraid of it. I was learning how to live in quiet. One Friday evening, a coworker invited me to go bowling. Normally, I'd say no, but this time, I said yes. We picked a lane at the far end. The sound of pins crashing echoed through the neon-lit room. I played a few frames, not bad. The impact of the pins felt like a kind of release. Then it was her turn. I looked to my right and froze. 2 lanes over, a man struggled to lift a dark green ball. Shoulders thinner, hair grayer. He missed. The ball rolled into the gutter. As he bent for another throw, his eyes found mine. He stopped. Frank. I stood, ready to leave but paused. And this time, I didn't look away. He walked toward me slowly. His bowling shoes squeaked softly. Hazel, he said, quietly. Like one wrong word might break the moment. I said nothing. He looked at the lane beside me. Mind if I play around? I gave a nod to the attendant to reset the lane. He sat next to me. The silence between us stretched like a thin line between 2 distant points. His first throw gutter again. He let out a quiet laugh. I guess I've lost even the last habit. That made me feel good about myself. Still, I stayed silent. Hazel, he said, lowering himself onto the bench again. I'm not here for money. If this were the old me, maybe, but not today. I turned to look at him. Green light cast. Shadows on his face revealing everything time had etched in. I thought I was strong. A man, the head of the household. But when you started growing, making your own way, I felt small. He paused. I was jealous. And instead of stepping up, I hid behind the label of family, used it to cling to something that was never mine. I leaned forward, arms on my knees. You didn't just take money. You took trust. You pulled Mom and the others into a cycle of reliance no one wanted to admit. He nodded. I know I can't fix it, but I want you to know I regret it. I'm sorry I never said I was proud of you. Those were the words I had needed for nearly 20 years. I'm not coming back, I said quietly. I'm not trying to reconnect. I just want to live my life without always being the one expected to give. I want to exist in peace. He reached out a hand. It shook slightly. I hesitated, then slowly reached out too. His hand was cold. Mine wasn't warm. But that moment for the first time felt like equality. 2 people, not a giver and a taker. I stood, brushed off my jacket. I'm heading out. Enjoy your game. He nodded. Didn't ask me to stay. Outside, the night air met my face, cool and still. I got in the car, took a long breath, and drove home. Every stoplight felt like a slow release of years of pressure. No one was in the car asking if I was okay. No notifications waited to guilt me, just silence. But it didn't feel like loneliness. Home. I opened the window. The night breeze carried the scent of magnolias. The city no longer sounded rushed. Just the quiet movements of people living, not surviving. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, tea in hand. For once, I didn't think about the past. I didn't tally the years I had spent under the weight of obligation. I just felt still and free. I used to think revenge would bring peace, but this wasn't about winning. It was about freedom. Freedom from being the good daughter, from love that only flowed one way, from guilt, sweet enough to blur every boundary. I opened my laptop not to check the balance, but to stare at the number. The one that, for the first time, felt like closure. I booked a trip not to escape, but to start fresh. Somewhere I had no roles, no expectations, just Hazel. The next morning, I woke up early, no alarm, no pressure. I walked through the park. Kids played soccer. A man let his dogs run loose. A woman read quietly on a bench. No one knew who I was. No one needed anything from me. It wasn't emptiness. It was freedom. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe my family will reach out again. Maybe one day, a letter from my mom will arrive, full of regret. But here's what I know for sure. I'm no longer under their control. I don't need anyone's approval. I made my choices and I live with them. Steady, quiet, without regret. That evening, I walked past a small secondhand shop. A wooden sign in the window caught my eye. It read, "Freedom isn't walking away from someone, it's returning to yourself." I smiled, quietly. Just for me, Hazel's story is a reminder that family doesn't mean endless sacrifice. In a world where duty often disguises emotional pressure, setting boundaries is an act of strength. Hazel wasn't trying to win, she was choosing peace. What do you think? Was Hazel too cold? Or was she just protecting herself? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more thoughtful stories about family, boundaries, and healing.